everybody, we're here with the Seven Figure Flipping YouTube channel. I'm Eric.
I'm Therese.
And this is our third flip here in Franklin, Tennessee. It's about 1,180 square feet. Let's go check it out. Welcome to the living and kitchen. When we originally bought this house, there was a wall right down the center of this house all the way with just a 2-foot opening. We knew that we had to open up the space to make it more functional. So I went in the attic and checked. There was no load-bearing walls here, so we were able to just tear it out the way we wanted to and expand this and turn it into this beautiful space.
There's also a hole here in the floor. It was about 1.5 feet deep, almost 2 feet, and it was not wrought, it was all broken floor joists. So we had to go under the house and fix all the floor joists and prop it back up.
Originally, this was a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, but we found out after purchasing this property that the septic system was not rated for a 3-bedroom home. So we had to convert the house into a 2-bedroom. Because we had all that extra space, we went ahead and turned it into a master suite and got 2 beds, 2 baths. Originally, this was the master bedroom, and it had a very large closet that was built out into this room. Since we had that extra bedroom to steal space from, we pulled that out of here, created this walk-in closet, and added this beautiful master bath.
So this is the secondary bedroom. We didn't really change much in this bedroom. There was some glass mirrored doors there in the closet, and we wanted a more modern look, so we went with a more modern closet door system and changed out the fixtures.
This was the primary bathroom, and when we came in at first, the entire floor was rotted in here. We had to tear this completely out, start all over, new subfloor, new floor joists, and we didn't reconfigure the bathroom. We kept it the same configuration. We just rebuilt it from the ground up. Yeah, this house was weird. It had 2 doors on the front and a secondary porch that we ended up tearing off. We replaced it with the window. That's the master bathroom on the other side. This was kind of a hidden feature. We didn't exactly know we got at first, but this creek actually is fully on this property. The property line is on the other side of the creek there. So this has got a private creek. So we decided to make a little sitting area down here. This is not what's gonna stay. We're gonna put a nice bench down here. But it's just a nice quiet reflection area. We've been flipping for the last 3 years. This is our 3rd house. We had a year interim between the first and the second house, so kind of a long first one. We came to flipping houses because I used to work offshore oil and I was gone all the time. I actually got into a car accident. Fortunately, was not hurt at all. When I called into my work to tell them that I was not going to be able to make it, they told me, well, don't show up without a medical release. And at that moment, I knew that they didn't care about me at all. So we actually started a business that was a secondhand store, which led us to selling sheds and carports, then eventually to flipping houses.
I currently run our shed business. It's called The Shed Place out of Hohenwald, Tennessee, and that's what I do 9 to 5. He runs our real estate business, and our shed business is our breadwinner at the moment.
We started working with a new real estate agent when they first got their license, and we built a relationship with him. When he saw this property come on a listing, he knew it would probably be a good investment property, and he immediately called us. We were the very first people to look at this house, but this was an MLS listed home when we bought it.
But he got us in this house within a couple hours of it being listed, and we offered $310 for this house.
Yeah.
It was asking price.
It was asking, yeah.
The house was in bad condition. It was in disrepair pretty much in every aspect. The only thing we did not really have to replace on this house was the roof and the HVAC. But everything else on this house has been replaced. And
No, not the windows.
oh yeah, windows.
Yeah, we got to keep the windows.
Yeah.
So we have a private money lender, and we did a full purchase and renovation with him.
It's a private money lender, and we are Points Plus a joint venture. We don't have any institutional hard money out on this property.
We are planning on doing the 500K challenge and trying to raise more money and also digging deeper into institutional lending. So originally, when we picked up this property, we had a budget of $78,000 that we were going to put into the property. We found a contractor that agreed to do it for $77,000. So we were elated. We thought, wow, we hit a pot of gold on this. As the project went on, we ran into some roadblocks with the electrical in this home. The more the issues came, the more the contractor started to do worse and worse work. Quality-wise. The more we started to point out the quality issues, the less they started showing up. The more we were having to be here ourselves and push them to even show up, let alone work.
So eventually the contractor misappropriated our funds, and we caught him doing that, and then he left the job. We are currently pursuing legal action against that contractor. So then after that point, we moved forward, and he started GCing the project himself, and we subcontracted out all of the remaining work. Plus he was here swinging a hammer every day to where we are now. And as far as the funds go, we're now sitting at a budget of about 122 on the house.
On the renovation.
On the renovation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't wait to fire a contractor.
Act sooner.
Act sooner.
If something is going wrong, take immediate action. Don't wait for them to make it right, because most likely they won't make it right. I
was the one who was like, let's give them a chance. They're going through things. They're struggling. They're a business owner too. I felt like, trying to be empathetic was, reasonable and decent. But in the end, they just took advantage of us. I was afraid also because I was like, who are we gonna get to come and do this and finish this for the same price? I felt like we had gotten a good deal on the price. All of those things held us back from making decisions. In reality, we should have just fired them and moved on. It would have moved the project ahead much faster, and we would have saved more money because we would have had less holding cost. Also, we live off grid. We built our own tiny home, so I have a lot of building experience. I had worked several construction jobs prior to working on the oil field too, so I had a lot of experience from that as well. But the scope of contracting other people and teaching along the way was all new experiences. I've had both of my sons here for this project, helping me along the way, and it's been a really fun experience with them, just spending time with them and showing them how to do things with their hands.
One of my main jobs here was to lay the pathways and the gardens with my mother. I also helped pressure wash the driveway, the concrete pad, and it was very difficult because every so often my brother was taking out paint rollers to wash. I kept washing the concrete pad because it kept getting dirty, and I did not know how until my father pointed out when he was coming inside that Triton's paint rollers were dripping on the pad, which I kept pressure washing. It got resolved eventually, and Triton was more careful with his paint rollers.
What are you gonna say to that?
It is a lie. Some of the first days here, I cleaned and laid some baseboard and did the flooring.
He grouted for the first time ever. He grouted this entire backsplash.
This entire backsplash was grouted by him.
Yeah.
So
he's been here every step of the way with Eric, and he has had his hands on pretty much every single part of this project. Working with your family is both difficult but amazing all at the same time. It's ultimately what we're headed towards full-time. We want to have a family-run business where we all have aspects of the business under control, and we move forward as a unit.
for me, I feel like some of the best times are actually the commute to and from. We spend a lot of time joking, singing, having a good time in the car before we get to the job. They're good workers, they work hard during the day, but when we knock off at the end of the day, we have an hour drive from this location and we just get to spend an hour together talking about whatever. And so for me, that's one of my best parts of the day.
I feel like I wouldn't be here or doing these things without the help of Teenage Tycoon. It has helped me so much to grow as a person and as a good human being who is financially responsible and emotionally responsible for everything I do.
Our exit strategy was always to flip and sell this house. And we are still going to flip and sell this house.
Luckily, when we did our numbers in the beginning, there was enough room for all the accidents and mistakes that have happened in this project. But the market could have shifted at any time and we wouldn't be in the position that we're in. But it was fortunate that our pre-planning helped us be where we are.
We did at one point consider keeping the house because it's a unique lot and we really like the renovation that we've done. And this would be a great rental property here in Franklin, but it just makes more sense to flip it and get some cash flow. As
far as location is concerned, it's excellent. The problem is the amount of money we have in versus if once we were to like DSCR and try and get it for ourselves, the loan amount would be so high that we would be at no profit monthly. So it would be, all of the money would be going back in. So if we had any kind of major catastrophe, something go out, we wouldn't have any reserve to, fix it. So we would be putting ourselves in a place of danger, I guess. And it just was more of a risk than we wanted to take, where, we flip it and we move on to the next one and we're done with it and we don't have to think about it anymore. But we do want to build a portfolio of buy and holds as well, just we didn't feel like this one was the one.
Well, this flip has pointed out a lot of weaknesses in our managing of other people and managing a project in general. And so we've got some invaluable knowledge now from this flip to move forward and do it very differently on the next one and just be way more involved in the managing of conflict resolution and time management and contractor management.
Yeah, because of this project, we actually read a book called
Project Management for the Unofficial Project Manager.
Yeah, just because we knew we saw the holes in what we did and that we needed to get better. So just continuous learning. Don't feel like you are just so great at anything that you can't learn more.
And the only way out is through. We came up against so many roadblocks with this house. Some of them were self-inflicted and some of them were just part of the process. But the only way to get to the other side is to go through the fire.
Yeah, you just got to go through it.
So moving forward from this property, of course, we still have to list this property. It was supposed to be listed today, but we ran into some additional roadblocks, so that has been delayed probably another 7 days. We're actively looking for our next house. One thing that we want to try again is to manage multiple flips at one time so that we can move forward with our cash flow and to increase our knowledge of how to manage properly. So we're going to find another house and flip it.
We also just recently joined Seven Figure, and so we are planning on diving very deeply into all of the schooling and video courses and things to help us expedite some of this stuff and maybe avoid some of the pitfalls that we had on this.
We've been members for about 3 weeks, and the support that we've received for this house has been pretty invaluable.
She just recently posted the setback that we had on the Facebook community, and we had an uproar of people telling us they can't do that to you, don't take that, go get legal advice, do this, do that. I had a phone call from one of the other members that I met at an event, and he was like, is everything okay? Is there anything I can do to help? The community has definitely stepped up, and they don't barely even know us yet. So our ultimate purpose for all of this is to build generational wealth for our family and to be able to give our grandkids experiences and a life with their grandparents that they'll remember. Very important for myself in particular to just be remembered in a good way. I think that's what we leave behind is our memory. So we want to build on that. And of course, being financially stable and secure into retirement for ourselves is important. And we would like to travel. So to do and accomplish all of that, we feel like flipping is the vessel to get started, then moving into managing multifamily, and then from there into investing, primarily, lending money and those kinds of things.
I would like within the next 12 months for us to have doubled the amount of flips that we've done and to have systems in place in our other business to where I can step away and also do real estate full time.
So it's been just under 2 weeks and a lot has changed. So come on in and we'll show you what we've got. So in the last 2 weeks where we left off before, we had failed our electrical inspection and we had quite a bit to catch up on this property before we could list it. So what was the process like getting somebody out here to get it all fixed?
Well, we had to find a company that was willing to work with our inspector. We found a big name company. They were already on good terms with the electrical inspector, and we hired them. They got it done in 2 days. We passed our electrical inspection, and then we moved on. We staged that same day.
Well, there's a little bit more to it than that. They had to come back and add some home runs and some other things. So from a construction perspective, it added work on me. I had to repatch some walls and things where they had to cut in. But other than that, it was flawless.
We got the past electrical inspection around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And so we came and staged that same day, but it took us a while. We got home at 4 a.m. that day. And so it was a long, long evening.
We called our real estate agent directly the next day. He had already put up some coming soon photos. Before we even could go live, we had our first offer.
And then after that, we were on market for 3 whole days. We got 6 showings during that time period and 2 offers. As
the 2 offers were there, we had a all cash full offer.
And they waived the right to appraisal and the right to financing, the financing contingency.
We put it actually to the 7-figure group, which offer they would go with. It was a unanimous that they would go with the first offer. A lot of people told us we had room to negotiate, so we decided to go ahead and counter his offer because they wanted us to pay for all of the title costs. So there was also a second offer, and the thing with the second offer was they were a traditional financed buyer, but they were also a full price offer. They also were going to pay all of the title fees. They were also giving the correct buyer's commission, what we had offered for the real estate agent. So they were comparatively really similar except for the title, and for the buyer's agent commission was offered at 3% on the original offer from the cash offer. After putting it to the group and conferring with a couple of other investors, like I said before, we went with the first offer, but we did negotiate the terms down from 3% on the buyer's agent to 2.5%, then had them pay the entirety of the title costs. The big reason for that was because they could only, even though they were a cash buyer, they could only close in 30 days. They couldn't do a quick close. So that was going to cost us money every day to hold it for those 30 days. So by having them pay the title costs, we're offsetting that cost and making the best deal for ourselves.
So the second offer that we got ended up being our backup offer. So the reason you would want a backup offer is that the property would never go not under contract if the first offer falls through. And so there's never a break in contract. It just goes from the contract that fell through to the contract that is your backup offer. Even after all the pitfalls we've had, I mean, we've been on this roller coaster of emotion since we started this project. It's given us so many problems. We went $50,000 over budget on this property. We had contractors walk off. We've had workers not show up. And
failed electrical inspection after failed electrical inspection.
Even with all that, we thought we were going to lose money on this property, and we accepted an offer yesterday. And it turns out we are going to make some money on this property, so we are so excited. We owe part of that to the seven-figure community because their advice was very helpful to us.
Thank you for joining us on this journey with this flip. Many more to come. We're excited for everything in the future. If you like this kind of content, join Seven Figure Flipping on YouTube. Comment what you'd like to see down below.